Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. First things first, if you've seen the title of this video, you know this is a very late eclipse-based dragon. And if you're wondering why it's so late, one, I had a bunch of other projects that I wanted to get out. At the time of recording this, they're still not all out, but they will be by the time you're seeing this, obviously. Two, I had no idea how to do this dragon. And three, I just didn't feel like it. But I'm here doing it now. And yeah, I hope you aren't mad at me because I didn't do this soon enough. Sorry again. Well, after all that, I think we should just hop into the video and get to my designing process of this dragon. So I wanted to kind of go a little bit outside of what I'd usually do. It's not overly outside of my idea zone, but it's a little bit more mythical than my very Wings of Fire based stuff that I usually do. And the whole idea was to base as much of this dragon as I could off of things around the eclipse or the eclipse itself. The little halo thing I added to the background representing the eclipse itself being overshadowed by a dragon that is mostly darkly colored, aka the moon, also a Nightwing, that there too. And the Nightwing has a blindfold because you're not supposed to look at the eclipse. That was kind of my whole thought process. Later on, you'll see that I have jewelry that's like a bronzy color. I did that because I felt like the dragon was a little bit too plain. Overall, this dragon was pretty simple compared to what I wanted to do, but I couldn't really figure out how to add colors that I wanted to. I went with a slightly more saturated Nightwing than I usually would, but nothing crazy, like it's still very clearly a Nightwing. And I leaned a bit more on the purple side with this one. I wanted to use red for the blindfold to contrast it, but rewatching the script kind of makes them look like a Ninja Turtle, just a little bit. Yeah, I'm not happy about that, but I feel like the problem's fixed later when I decide not to show the eyes through the blindfold. But yeah, that was a choice I made. I'm glad I didn't stick with it. I also went with kind of like a panther spot style that I did end up toning down substantially and then bringing the colors out a bit more. It was a whole thing going back and forth with that. And yeah. My thought process behind like how this dragon could fit into the world of Wings of Fire would be an animus, probably, that, like, in ancient times before Darkstalker, an animus Nightwing that was particularly fond of changing, like, the day-night cycle, and their animus magic kind of led a lot of the dragons around them who didn't know what animus dragons were for another couple thousand years to believe that this dragon was some sort of deity of some sorts. And, they kind of just went along with it because they didn't know any better either. That's kind of my thought process, but if you guys have any other ideas, a lot of the dragons that I make, I don't actually plan to use in any stories. So I'm really open to ideas and such like that. They're just kind of characters that I make. What else to talk about? I really tried to be adventurous with, like, how I did the outlining. I mean, not the outlining, the texturing on the dragon. I wanted to go with something different than I usually do. Especially with my new style. I think that this worked pretty well, and I liked how the scaling came out. Especially when I changed the colors a bit to have it be a bit more bold. I think that worked very well, because in my mind, the eclipse is a pretty, like, bold event. I kind of struggled with designing this, and I went through a couple iterations before we got to this one. I went back and forth with what kind of dragon. Like, the Nightwing felt too obvious, so I was gonna go for something else, but nothing really fit as well as I'd like it to. And I went through a lot of designs with whether they would be a hybrid or a Nightwing, and what their design would really look like. A couple of them had stripes, I think, and a lot of them had spots to kind of, dragging with spots. I don't know. It felt like a good idea at the time. I can't explain why, though. I really didn't know how this dragon was going to turn out until I finished it. And once I finished it, I hated it and went back and changed a couple things. And then I hated it not as much. So, yeah. I did a lot of shading to make the dragon feel like an eclipse was occurring. But I'm not sure if I did a good job with that, and I think I could have done better, but maybe I'll try to do something like this again. Would you guys want to see me do dragons based off of natural events like earthquakes, tsunamis? Well, maybe not a tsunami, we kind of got a dragon like that already. Hurricanes, comets, stuff like that. Would that be something you guys are interested in? Because I would be willing to do that if you guys would want to watch that, but only if you guys are interested in that kind of thing. I also messed around with a lot of the lighting, like if I wanted the light to be coming from like the halo-like object, or if the light was coming from behind it. In the end, I don't even know where it kind of ended up. It kind of ended up being a bit of both. And I ended up doing like bronzy gold kind of jewelry to really bring out the colors. It felt like it needed something. The dragon felt far too plain for the very grand looking dragon that I wanted her to be. Even still, I don't feel like she's as grand as I wanted her to be, but I don't really know what I could have done differently. Because I didn't really want drapey clothing. It didn't really feel right. But I also didn't want a boatload of jewelry, which I kind of ended up giving her, but it ended up being how it ended up being. I added black spots. I made her even more purple than I had originally planned, with like more blue, and you can see me kind of, I don't know if you can tell, but my thought process was, oh god, I gotta fix this, basically the whole time. In the end, I think she came out okay. I don't have a name for her, as I'm very bad at coming up with names. And I don't want to name her Eclipse, like that just seems like such a bad idea. I was thinking maybe go with something along the lines of a really basic name. Like, I don't know, Starlight. Also, if you don't look at my community post, I am planning on making an Etsy with buttons. It might even be up by the time this video is posted, but I doubt that. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed today's video, leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below what you want to see next. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!